Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga delivered a keynote address at the first National Teacher Conference for the teaching profession under the theme, The Teaching Profession in Our Hands, Our Voices and Plight Matter. The conference, which is organised by the South African Council for Educators, aims to bring teachers, unions and other stakeholders together to reflect on matters that affect their profession. SACE CEO Ella Mokgalane joins us for more on this. Ella, very good morning. Appreciate your time today. Just give us the basics of why you're having this conference and what are some of the objectives you hope to achieve.
Thank you very much and good morning to the viewers. One of the things that SACE thought of is that there are many changes going on within the teaching profession. And besides that, when policy and decisions are made, it's rare that your ordinary teachers are really involved in terms of making input and comments in those decisions, in those policies. And therefore, we felt it was very important to get the voices of the teachers on the ground and also from the stakeholders and teacher unions, including officials from the Department of Basic Education, so that as individuals but also as collective, we can begin to say to the profession, to say to SACE, these are some of the things that we feel should be done this way. Even to use that information to begin to advise the minister, to advise the Department of Basic Education in terms of what are things that they can do to make working conditions easier for teachers, but also to make sure that the curriculum, when it's changed, when it's implemented, it really works for teachers in different contexts. But in addition, we said we've got good teachers out there with best and good practices in a way that those practices can be shared amongst various educators. Contexts are different. We've got lots of teachers that came from rural schools, from remote areas, from multi-grade schools, who were sharing their plight, who were sharing their experiences. But also we've got teachers that are in city schools and urban schools. The variety that we got from these different kind of teachers, it was very helpful to really make sure that teachers are learning from each other. They practice collegiality. They also practice collaborative learning amongst themselves.
So let's talk about some of the challenges that teachers are facing when you compare teachers in the rural areas to those in urban centres. Are there many differences to some of the challenges that they're facing?
Of course, many of the educators in your cities, in schools that are closer to for example, your townships and all that, issues of violence, safety and security in schools is a big challenge. We've seen the number of cases in terms of where teachers were shot, where you have people that are coming into schools and just saying to teachers, take out your wallets, and they take the machines and swipe those cards. So those teachers are really having it tough. But also you've got issues around overcrowding. There are teachers that are having it cool and nice in terms of having very few learners in classes. Their classes are small. But on the other side, you've got overcrowding. And in those instances, it becomes difficult for teachers to really deal with teaching and learning. However, the teachers that shared their best practices, irrespective of them experiencing those challenges in terms of overcrowding, they've shown that there are different things or unique things. They step out of the box and be in a position to really say we can't be defined by the situation that we are in. And therefore, they go out extra mile. They are innovative, they are creative in terms of how do they really deal with teaching and learning and focus on teaching and learning despite the challenges that they are faced with.
Now, Ella, you've indicated that there are a number of stakeholders that are involved in the collaborative process that is being undertaken. Obviously, SACE representing teachers. You have the Department of Basic Education, but there's also another group. In fact, a couple of other groups, and that's the parents and the communities. Do you have representation from these members?
Those members are represented through school governing bodies. As part of our SACE governance, in terms of its structure, we've got governing bodies that are representing the parent component, but also those governing body associations that are in council are employers of teachers that are employed by school governing bodies. So through the school governing body associations, we are able to take some of these issues to the communities and also to the parents. And that particular component is very important for us to make sure that even the things that we deal with, for example, when you're dealing with issues of ethical issues, issues of misconduct, many parents would not understand what is it that they need to do in terms of reporting such kind of cases. And therefore, the fact that we've got school governing body associations working with us and also present in the conference, it helps in terms of them really taking the message down to the parent component but also to the public at large.
So let's talk about some of the conversations that you're likely to have with the Department of Basic Education. You've talked about educators in some parts of the country that have issues around security. What are those conversations looking like and the process in addressing the issues, if obviously they can be addressed?
Obviously, teachers are demanding, if I may put it that way, that they must be protected. And we know very well that it's not going to be possible for government in terms of in form of Department of Basic Education to provide fiscal protection. However, one of the things that we are looking at is to say, to what an extent can we have a policy that protects teachers in various ways? So we're coming up with proposals. I think by the end of the day, when we finish coming from the commissions and parallel sessions, there will be specific issues that teachers are coming up with, because remember the theme of the conference is talking to the issue of the voice of teachers. What are teachers saying to the minister? What are they saying to the Department of Basic Education? What are they saying to the profession and SACE? So we are likely to see a whole lot of proposals and recommendations coming from them. But the issue of protection of teachers is one of the key issues that teachers are vocal about, and we will see in terms of the kind of proposals that will be coming up.
I'm glad you spoke about the protection of teachers, but a group that also needs protection are the learners, and we do know that many teachers are involved in misconduct, including sexual relations with learners. What is the process around ensuring that learners are safe and protected in schools, and certainly how are you dealing with some of these miscreants, if you will?
Look, SACE has got jurisdiction over the teachers. And one of the things, the reason why we are registering teachers and them being part of members of SACE is that they must uphold the ethical standards and professional standards of the teaching profession. And therefore, we can't encourage the whole issue of them harming children, abusing children in a form of sexual misconduct, like you've said, and also in a form of corporal punishment. And therefore, we are working collaboratively with the Department of Basic Education, 9 provincial education departments, including Education Labor Relations Council, to really advocate to the parents, advocate to the public in terms of making sure that the children do not become victims of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and sexual assault by the teachers. Unfortunately, from our side, because we do not have direct mandate, we don't have direct access to the children, there isn't much we can do. However, when we have our own disciplinary processes, there are different things that we do. For example, working with organizations like Teddy Bear Clinic to see the extent at which these children can be protected in disciplinary hearing sessions. But beyond that, the Department of Basic Education, including the provincial education departments, have got a responsibility to make sure that they protect the children as victims of sexual misconduct, as victims of corporal punishment and any form of abuse that may come their way.
Now, how many members do you have in your association?
Almost 500,000 teachers. Remember, we regulate across the public and independent schooling sector. So you take the number from the public institutions, but also from your independent schooling, including the TVET college lecturers as well as the community education and training lecturers. So the overall number, if I give you a ballpark figure, it will be around 500,000 members.
That's a significant number. Now, how can teachers be equipped with skills and knowledge? Because the landscape, the learning landscape is ever-changing. I mean, we talk about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and things like that are coming onto the fore. Do you have a program? What are your recommendations on how educators can be kept abreast with the different learning experiences that learners can be given?
As SACE, we are managing a system called Continuing Professional Teacher Development. This is a system that will make sure that all providers of professional development for teachers, all of them, they apply to SACE for quality assurance and relevance and fitness for purpose of their programs. And therefore, one of the things really that we are doing, like you've already indicated, things are changing. We've seen in the last 2 years, COVID, we've seen the impact of fourth industrial revolution. We've seen coding and robotics happening in schools. And therefore, as a regulator and as a body that is managing continuing professional development, one of the things is to say the Department of Basic Education should have a framework for competencies and skills for the changing world, so that our educators can go through continuing professional development that is really supporting them, that is developing them, that is encouraging collaborative learning on issues of 4IR, artificial intelligence, competencies and skills for the changing world. But fortunately also for us, we have the younger generation that is coming into the teaching profession. Already those that they are coming with those competencies, because remember we are expecting jobs of the future, and therefore we can't teach our children the same way that we were teaching them, we were taught ourselves. And therefore the combination of your old teachers, the teaching profession is aging, the combination of the old teachers and the new ones that are coming into the profession is really assisting us, because they can have cross-learning, they can collaborate, they can be in a position to assist each other over and above the programs that are offered by the Department of Basic Education, which are monitored and assured by, or quality managed by SACE, so that we can ensure that quality, fit for purpose and relevant programs that are around fourth industrial revolution, that are around competencies and skills for the changing world, are really of high quality and relevant to our teachers in different contexts. But of course, we know everywhere where you have issues of fourth industrial revolution, modern technologies, you'll always have issues around the digital divide. You'll have issues around access. While it's important for us to be having these programs, at the same time, in certain areas, we also need to address issues of inequalities. We need to address issues of access, because we still have educators in areas where there's no infrastructure for connectivity, or the infrastructure is weak. And how do you even work collaboratively with other government departments to make sure that there's access for those, and not we don't perpetuate inequalities that might be there.
Ella, I appreciate your time this morning.